Okay, so thank you so much, guys, once again for joining us. So we have already learned some of the basic part. Till yesterday, I think we have covered till module 2, 3, right? So today we'll try to understand and explore some more. And in today's topic, we'll be learning about the Terraform block basically. So let me take you there. Terraform 27. Yeah, so we'll try to understand Terraform block first of all and why it is important. So this block can also called in three ways, right? It means the same. For example, we sometimes we call as a Terraform block, sometimes we call as a Terraform setting blocks or Terraform configuration block. Now, each Terraform block can contain a number of settings related to Terraform's behaviors. So we have already learned yesterday also how the Terraform behavior works as well, right? So yeah, and then within Terraform block, only constants value can be used. Arguments may not refer to name objects such as resource, input variables, etc. and may not use any of the Terraform language in build functions. Now, if you just take a look here, now there is something called as this is the thing, right? If you just noticed it here, Terraform 0.12 and earlier, that means anything that is means what is it before 0.12 they have this kind of this thing. Now in new, that is 12 point sorry 0.13 and above, that is latest mean that more than that later you'll have a this kind of block like that. Initially we do not find like that. If you just notice like that, that is why we were using this also, right? Then next, now as I told you, let us understand one by one this one. Terraform block we have understood. Under Terraform block, as I told you, this is something called as a this one record Terraform versions. So record version means we have defined whatever version that we want to define, that is Terraform version. But don't confuse this Terraform version, record version that is for Terraform. This means different than the provider versions. Okay. Now, if you notice this one, this is a provider version. If you see a provider, record providers, here you can see the version S anything greater than 2.0. That means this is actually a provider version. And this one record version is that is not for that. It is for the Terraform CLI basically to interact with the service. Now, now then we have this is a provider. Normally we have to define this way. Same way, if you remember, we have defined it also in our main.tf file, right? I mean, not here. It is an output.tf file. So here we have defined it, right? What is the version and provider, everything. So that's the thing. Now let's come to the point now. That is backends. As I told you, whenever you are creating any resource, say for example, you're creating a storage account or maybe virtual machines, normally if you just noticed it, be all the state file basically in the sense the metadata of your existing infrastructure which was deployed, those all metadata will be stored in your local system. Now, what do you mean local system? That means now, if you remember that day we created this thing, we have a state file here, right? Under here, if you noticed here, there is a log file, right? And then also there is a state file, then there is a backup. That means this particular all the state files are in fact stored in your local system. Okay, so yeah, so this is stored in the local system. Now that means now this also can be stored using backends. That is a backend block. Basically we need to use it, and in my case backend, and I have to mention the provider name. And now I need to mention, as I told you, this can be stored somewhere in your centralized location. This is again depends on the provider that I use. In my case, let's say we are using Azure, so we will be have to, I mean, we have to use Azure storage account. Okay, so Azure storage account can be used for the blob storage as well as file storage set. Now in my case, as I told you, this is just a data, right? So this will be a blob kind of things will be storing. So if you want to use the same blob, we can use it as a backends and also provider name, and here you can define the resource group name and also the storage account name, a container name. Why container name? Because under container name is where you're going to store your terraform.state file. And this container name can be anything that you can give according to your preference. But then the terraform.tf state must not be changed. It should be according to the Terraform standard. So we always try to remember to use the same naming as part what has been given as default. Okay, that will be terraform.tf state. This will be a default name. So this will be stored where in your backends. I mean, this state file will be stored in the backends. Then next, also we need to understand that experimental language feature. This is some of the things, but normally you can for now you can ignore this one. This one just focus in the providers as well as the backends. Okay. Now let's go to the next. Next, we'll, as I mentioned, we will try to understand providers first. So what is provider first of all? When I say provider, it's basically nothing but is a heart of Terraform. But that means now provider is basically the heart of Terraform. That means now, for example, if you remember that day, we have created the storage resource group before defining the provider. And we try to run the Terraform plan or this thing, it fails, right? It says that provider is mass. This is why every single resource, whenever you're trying to create also, if you simply type in your Chrome browser like Terraform Registry, it will take you to the documentations. Like you can just click over here, then this will take you, just select the provider. In my case, it is Azure. In your case, if it is a GCP or AWS or any other, you can select one of them. Okay, my case it is Azure. Let me select it is. Now as you click within the same registry itself, you get to see the provider details. This is what I was saying it. Without having this defined, you will not be able to create any resource. The reason why, as name says, right, it is a provider is our heart of Terraform. That means without having a Terraform provider, you cannot create any resource. First thing. Second thing, every resource type, that example, resource group is implemented by provider, as I told you. That is important. And without providers, Terraform cannot manage any infrastructures. Now, provider are distributed separately from Terraform, and each provider has its own release life cycle and version numbers. So as I told you, this version number I have already shown, right? Here, do you have different version number? This one, it keeps changing every single release as in when, right? So that's the first thing. Then we have Terraform registry is publicly available, which contains many Terraform providers for major infra platforms. So as I told you, there will be many providers. In my case, Azure or can be AWS or GCP or any other. Now, question is why the provider is so important here, right? Let me understand this way. Now, say for example, now you're working as a DevOps engineer, or maybe you're working as a Terraform admin, or whoever it is. You as a individually, you will be working here locally, basically in your desktop. Now you are going to use something called as a CLI, right? So you are going to use it. Now we for that, you first need to, what we need to do is that you need to first command, what I told was to run the Terraform init, so that it will download your backends. It is basically download the backend plugins, I mean backends initializations and the plugins, right? Provider plugins. Provider plugins also contains your informations about the providers, as well as the it stores in your state file also, right? If you remember that day we explained. Now, so as soon as I type here in Terraform registry itself, directly they'll go to this thing here, and they are this is as a provider basically, right? They will try to basically see which provider I'm going to basically I need to install it, because Terraform will not be able to understand unless you define the provider, because they need to understand which provider are you going to use it. If you had to download a provider, first of all, Terraform need to know, right, what provider need to be installed. So this is why it is important. In my case, it is a Azure Terraform provider. I'm going to use it. Next, then become the Terraform plan actually. You can do a validation, of course. Up second, we can do a validations. Validation will definitely check your syntax of your existing resource. What is been not just a resource, I mean to say the manifest file of your Terraform. And if you have already created some of the resources, it will also check your state file also if it is already available and compare with your configuration file, that is your manifest file. Okay. Next, it will do a Terraform plan. Now, in the plan case also same, just like a validations, what will do is that they will check your existing Terraform state file, whether you have state file or not. If this is not there, then they will check your, as I told you, Terraform state file contains your metadata of your existing infrastructure, right? Or whatever resource that you have already created, those information will be stored here. So you will have here now. Next, what you do after planning, then they will validate, as I told you, it will check in the state file and compare here based on the Terraform that you have provided and comparing with your existing code, I mean state file. they will give a plan. That means whatever changes is there, they'll give you output. Now plan is nothing but it is going to give you the exact what kind of resource going to be created if you run Terraform apply. Okay, that's the thing. Now then we use a Terraform apply. Now Terraform apply is to basically create the new resources which was not created already. Say for example, some of the resource already created and existing in your Terraform, and you want to create some other resource along with the same configuration file. In this case, only whatever new resource, those resource is going to be created. The existing resource is not going to affect or anything. It's not do anything changes. Okay. But if you're doing any changes with your existing code or which was already deployed, then it will be modified according to whatever you have changed in your code. Now, here there is something called as a provider. It also needs to communicate to the cloud, right? If we had to deploy to the cloud, say for example, resource group, how the Terraform will know what to create, what kind of resource to create. This is why we something called as Azure API. So Azure APIs basically need to communicate with your cloud provider. I mean, Terraform provider needs to communicate with your Azure API basically. Okay, Terraform provider has to communicate with your Azure API. Then they can be able to create the resource. Without having the API enabled or maybe they think we cannot create any resource. But this is a default that is taken by the Azure itself. Okay. Then next we have it is let me show you here. Terraform providers. As I told you, provider is nothing but it is a heart of Terraform. That means without having Terraform provider, you cannot create any resource. Now, whenever you want to basically create any resource, that means I need provider, right? So I have to define this way. So Terraform and record versions, that is this thing. This is actually you can mention this way, and also the what is called that record providers. These details. As I told you, you can always check the documentations, follow this, copy paste it also. If you don't know how to write also, no problem. Every single resource, there is a provider already defined for you. You just need to copy paste it, use it, that's it. And modify if required, depends on the version that you want, okay? Now, let's go to the next, that is a provider configurations. Now, this is a basically provider block basically, okay? Here, this is a Terraform, this is a provider block. Here if you see here, I need to define as I told you Azure, right? In my case, that is why I mentioned provider, that is my Azure, right? Azure RM is my nothing but it is a Azure resource manager, right? Then now I given as a blank, that is a feature. If you remember, same way I have in fact defined here. Remember this one I have defined it, provider, this one, right? So that is the thing. Now, yeah, that's the first thing. And then we have something called as the dependency log file. So as I told you, I have already explained in our last section also that about the dependency log file. That is something called as terraform.log.html. What kind of information it contains, that we need to understand, right? So if you remember last time I discussed that if you're I mean particularly when it comes to the dependency log file, it contains your provider information. That means whatever provider version or that you have used it, or maybe everything, all the data, or maybe this thing information will be stored here when this was run, everything. So okay, those information will be stored here, and then this is how it will be shown, something like this, right? There is Terraform provider version that you use during when you run Terraform plan, I mean Terraform init for the first time. So all these things will be basically you can see here also. This will be something like this. As I told you, you can something the version, whatever version you are going to use, everything. Okay. Now let's go to the next. Now require providers, right? Require providers, as I told you, this is the thing, because this is the thing. In my case, it is a Azure RM. In there, I need to go to source. Source mean where this original, what I call the registry is. It is in HashiCorp/Azure RM. But before there, there also will have a this thing, right? If you remember, registry will be there, right? Before that, register.io will be there, but you do not have to mention the register.io. Instead, you can simply use HashiCorp/Azure. Still, they can easily identify that you are going to use this particular Azure provider. Now, In your case, if you're going with the AWS case, you can choose the AWS provider. Okay, that is as simple. And within that one, as I told you, for every single provider, basically new features get created, right, or added, right? So we need to know which one to use it according to your requirement or maybe company or projects. That's a thing. So as I told you, you also have your, this is a provider block basically. This is a provider block, you can see feature. This is what I was just showing you just now. So this one, right? So this is what it is. Now next, let's see what we have next. Then as I told you, you can see something like this. Okay, something like this, but you don't have to use the register.io. You don't have to use it. You can simply use this way. Now, Terraform registry. Now, I have in fact discussed last time, but I have shown not discussed basically, but so I have shown some of the basic. Now, first thing we'll try to understand in Terraform provider registry what we have. As you can see that we are talking about Azure. So Azure providers, here we have a registry.terraform.io, and we have a modules. There we have a provider badges. Now, what is this used for? Now, if you notice here, there is a different color. This is an official with the yellow color. No? These are owned and maintained by HashiCorp. That means this particular whatever you see this kind of official logo, right? That means you can think that this is a trusted version. That means it's trusted provider. That means it can be used in your production case also, right? Same way, there is another also. This is verified. Verified. If you look at a tick, that means there are means these are owned and maintained by third party technologies partners. Like third party means it could be any other, right? HashiCorp has verified the authority of the provider's publishers. That means it is also verified by HashiCorp, but they are not maintaining. It is maintained by who? Third party vendor. Now, then there is also another like this. You get something called as a community. Here mean as name suggests, right? Community mean it will be individual or set of people or members who will be managing those. So then we have archive. This is nothing. Not no more use anymore. Okay. So let us see that one. If you see here the certificate logo, right? This one. That means official. That means this particular Azure RM provider, that is your Azure Resource Manager provider, actually it is managed by Azure, Microsoft only, sorry, HashiCorp, because they support this one. Same way, let me go back to the maybe registry. Now let me go provider. Let me show you. See, there is an option. You can check it. First of all, tiers right here. You can select official mean. If you can just put your just remove everything that you want. There are three, right? See, let me just remove official. Official mean under official, these are the official one. That means AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, Kubernetes, and these are some of the things that we need to know, whatever we want to use. But as I told you, the majorly we are working with the basically what we call Azure, GCP, and then what I said, AWS, then Kubernetes. There are others, of course, but these are some of the things. Even if you use this Azure Active Directory, also separate provider again. Okay. So this is a thing. Now, if you want to use this thing, that means you can easily trust them because this is managed by HashiCorp only, supported by them also. And partner means if you just untick, partner means let me just untick it. This is also this is Alibaba and all. This is just a partner, right? So you can just try to explore this, understand what is they doing. But community mean as a name, as the name suggests, right? It is now basically set up membership member. They will be managing it. This one. Let me select this one. Okay, you can see something like that. But normally you should not be use this one. You have to use minimum is a partner or official. Normally it is if you're using in your production case or anything in your like actual work, you will not be using the partner also. You have to use the official only. This also you need to identify whether we are using the official provider or the partner providers. So in my case, let's go with the official one. So I will go inside. Okay. Okay. Next. Then we have something called as Terraform multi-providers. Now, what is meant by Terraform multi-provider now? Here, we can define multiple configurations for the same provider and select which one to use on a per resource or per module basis. The primary reason for this is to support multiple regions for the cloud platforms. So see in simplest case, say for example, we want to deploy a resource. Let's say for example, storage account. Now I want to create, if you just notice here, this is a provider one that is for the east to west. Second provider two that is for the east to west. That means, sorry, west US. That means if you notice, these two different providers are in fact used for two different regions. That means now I want to define this as a default provider. That means whenever I create any resource, by default, all my resource has to be created in the particular region. That is which one? East to west. But there is another requirement. I'm saying that, okay, whatever default I'm going to create, but for certain resource, right? For certain resource, let's say virtual machines, for certain virtual machines, I want for specific certain virtual machines to be created in different region, not in the same region. That means, right? In the different region that is in the east US, sorry, west US. In this case, we can use the something concept called as multiple providers. So how it works, we need to understand. If you notice here, here we can just see the till features, right? Here also till we have, but we can see alias is equal to whatever name is that. What exactly it means, right? So as the name suggests, alias nothing but this is short name, right? In order to use your any things or in order to call any value, you need to call with the name, right? So this is why we also use something called as a alias. So name of the alias, what is there? It is a provider to is to s. That means whenever I want to deploy my resources to in my particular region is to s, I simply need to call with the alias. Question is how can we call that? We need to see that. Okay. I have to simply call the alias and I basically need to set the name of the alias as a short name. Now, let me show you. Now, yeah. So as I told you, this is a default one. You can ignore this one. This is just how we created. But this is the one we are going to use for different region. Now, same thing, whichever resource we have created, right? Till here is okay. Resource grow is okay. Only here, while calling it, we have to define with the provider name. Provider is equal to whatever you are defining with the alias name. How can I get this alias name? If you just go back here, you can see what is the name of this one. It is a provider 2, then east US, right? Sorry, west US. Same thing, we can also see a provider, then Azure RM. As I told you, you always need to call with the provider name. It is in my case, it is Azure, right? Azure. That is why we are using Azure RM, and then dot we have to use it. Why dot we have to use it? We have to specify to respective provider. So this is why you see this is a provider name. If you call with this name, that means this particular resource group, that is my RG2, will be created in this particular region, that is a East US. Okay, this is the benefit of using this thing. Okay, now next, so yeah, so we can use the alternate provider in the resource data or module by referencing it as I told you, we have to call with the provider name. As I told you, this is your provider name. The next is your alias name. That means in order to use or multiple providers, we first need to define, we have to define the alias name, and whenever we are calling, we have to call provider name, we have to define is equal to then name of the provider and then name of the alias. In this case, this alias name, right? So this is how we can define it when we use it. So we will see this also in sometimes. Okay, now I will not discuss much about this one dependency log file. We have all discussed it. We'll go back. This was not required. Now let's go to the Terraform resource introduction. Some of the things we'll try to understand. Here we have something called as a Terraform basic, language basic, then resource syntax, and then behavior, Terraform resource behavior, and Terraform state. And also you can see something, this all called as a resource, this is called as a meta argument, that is called as a the count. And meta argument depends on for is life cycle. So what all these resource basically, why we even use them, right? We will try to understand them. Okay. I think somebody is maybe unmute. Maybe unmute. Can you just mute it yourself? Okay. Now let's understand this Terraform resource syntax first of all. So as I told you, we have already learned that yesterday. I think we have covered some of the basic things. Uh, yeah, we have covered this one, but I'll just try to give a small once again just to listen. As I told you, the only this one resource what you see, this is called as a block type, and till Azure RM2 till the last one, this is called as a block levels. Okay, and now entire this name and the value, that means what all together we call as the arguments, right? And only the right side what you see like a name, and this is normally what we call, if you remember, we call as a identifier, right? Expression is nothing but this on your right side, that is the value, right? So we can call in many ways, so it depends on person to person and how comfortable you are. So nothing wrong calling argument name, argument value, there's nothing wrong. Okay, you can call that also, you can call as identifier, expression, so whichever way you want you can call it, but together when a combining we have to call as an argument. That means key and value. Okay, name and value, I mean. Okay, this one I have explained everything. Now, yeah, so here we have to, this is a count. Okay, now if you see here, we are using in this particular region, there is something called as locations and provider are given in this particular, I given count, right? So before that, let me show you behavior. um, yeah, okay, so first of all, we need to understand what is the basically why we are using count here. Okay, so resource type, it determines the kind of, as I told you, resource type basically this one. This resource type. Resource type means if you see Azure RM till here, this is called as a resource type. Till till from the Azure RM till last, it is called as a block level, right? But when I call from the Azure RM till here, this particular this thing, right? I have to we have to call as resource type. How resource type? As I told you, if you see, this is the first thing will be your provider name. This will be your type of the resource I need to define. Together we can call as a resource type. Now, second one, this is also another, what is it called? Resource local name. Normally we can call as just a local name, or we can call as a this thing local name, resource local name. So you simply call as a local name. Okay. The question is, why do we even use uh, local name? We will try to understand that later in some time. Now, then we have a meta arguments. Now, this can be used with any resource to change the behavior of resource. If you remember yesterday, we have discussed about the meta argument, right? It's nothing but to change the default behavior of your Terraform. Say for example, instead of creating one resource group, I want to create here two different resource group, that is identical resource group. That is one meta argument. Second meta argument here is a provider. Now in provider, how is it possible? Because I'm telling now, instead of creating the default in the one I mean what I call in one particular region, now I want to change the behavior. I want that to be created in another region as well. So that means you are changing the behavior of the existing Terraform, right? So this is a thing. That means this is all together called as a meta argument. So meta argument is nothing but, as I told you, it's just to change the behavior of Terraform. Next we have a uh, resource argument. Now resource argument is something, this will be specific to resource type. Argument values can be made use of expression or other Terraform dynamic language features. Now when I say the resource argument is nothing but whatever, in order to create any resource, as I told you, only the right side means together we can call as this one, right? Together we can call as the argument, right? So that means in order to create any resources, we need to have the resource basically what is arguments basically. Okay, so this is the thing. Now let us see next what we have. Now Terraform resource behavior. So we all know Terraform resource behavior, how it works, right? If you remember, yesterday we created one resource group. Then when we try to create or maybe update the new resource group with the desired name, it is first destroying the existing resource and creating a new one, right? But to change the behavior, we can use there are different way of changing the behavior of Terraform. So one of them we can use it, that is as I told you, create resource. Create resource here, resource creates that exists in the configuration but not associated with the real time real infrastructure object in the state, right? This is the one case we can do it. Now second is a destroy resource. Destroy resource means you are basically destroying the or create the deleting the resources. Here also we can use it. And also we have something called as a update in place and create destroy and recreate. So these some of the things we have understood. So right, so create before destroy. If you just let me take you there, let me here, let's say I want to create the resource group. If you see here, instead of this is mean, just you have to use the this also, this life cycle we can call as a meta argument life cycle. What is the full name? It is a meta argument life cycle. So life cycle also is one of your meta argument. That means to change the behavior. Now if I type control plus space button, automatically the Terraform would suggest you to basically use the right one that you want. In my case, create before destroy means this is one of the argument. That means before destroying your resource, it has to create new resource. Once new resource is created according to your the Terraform that you define, then only the old resource is going to be destroyed. That means I am changing the behavior of Terraform. Second, ignore changes. Now ignore changes, why do we even use it? Ignore changes means, say for example, you have now in particular resource group I have added some tags now, or maybe some tags means you know right how to use a tag, or maybe any resource, not just tag, and just log into the portal first. Think, for example, I'll give you two scenario so that will be easy for you. Let's say I have now a resource group. Now this resource group name is my RG 700 777, right? Here we don't have any tag right now. Say for example, now this tag was created, that is from the policy that I have enabled it. But for now, let's say somebody manually I have given as a department as, let's say, department as IT. This is what we did. This tag was created manually. That means we have updated this particular tag manually now, right? Now, whenever I run Terraform apply, I'm saying the default behavior. Whenever I run the Terraform apply, what happens? Terraform will check the state file first of all, because as I told you, state file contains all the metadata of your existing resource. But Terraform will not have the state file for the tag, that is your dev and whatever name you define here, that is a value as ID. This tag information as a metadata will be not be stored in your state file. The reason being why it is not stored, because this particular is not no more managed in your Terraform, because in your Terraform core it is not defined anywhere, right? It is not defined anywhere. That means, as I told, Terraform will compare your existing state file versus the Terraform code also. They will check it. But these two are not matching, right? Not matching mean what Terraform will think that, okay, this is not there in state file also, and this is not there in my Terraform code also. Let me destroy it. That means this resource, whatever manually you're doing, when you run Terraform applies for a second time, this particular resource, I mean, tag will be discarded. In the sense, it will be deleted. Okay, this is a thing. Now, but let's say I want that this to be keep. I want to keep this one. There could be many reasons. This is one of the example. Second example I could give, say for example, you have the virtual machine now. Under virtual machines, what we do is that we do a lot of settings changes. We may do something, let's say in the NIC level, networking level, or maybe you may add some disks also, right? You may add some disks manually also, right? It could be any scenario. Say for example, the person, they don't know Terraform how to use it, so they have some urgent based requirement, they did it manually. That means they have updated or added the disks manually, or could be any other settings, right? So in this case, what happens? As I told you, Terraform will not understand that one because it is not there in the state file also. Terraform automatically is going to destroy the changes that you make manually. Simple. So in order to avoid this one, That means I want to tell now that, boss, because in my project's requirement, there could be some person or maybe this thing, they may not know Terraform, but whatever it is used manually, I want that to be ignored. In the sense, I want to keep it as it is. I don't want to delete it. I want to keep whatever done manually changes also. I want to keep as it is. So in this case, you have to use the ignore changes. What is that? Ignore changes. Now, if I use ignore changes, now name of the resource that you need to define it here now. Okay, if it is let's say now if you see here, no, I can use something like this, text min text like that. But in my case, it is not a this thing. You can ignore it whatever you want. Okay, that is one thing. Then second, we
Uh,
have it. Yeah.
one doubt, brother. Like you said, like there is a one VM created with Terraform, but I have updated the data disk size for
Mm-hmm.
suppose
Mm-hmm.
128 to 256.
Yes.
And like as you said, like so I have updated it manually. So Terraform don't know this, and it will. You said like it will destroy it whatever the
Yes.
changes are made manually.
Correct.
So, so it will destroy the disk, or it will just change the disk space to from 256 to 128. What it will do exactly?
Okay. Destroy in the sense whatever it is defined as part of the Terraform configuration, that it keep only that changes.
So now, okay, as per my like data disk will be deleted and created new with
No,
128 GB or like.
no, not create. It will not do the existing one. Only the changes that you make, they will distinct. Destroy in the sense, okay, if you talk about a data disk, say for example, you have created 128 GB is a default, right? That is defined according to the Terraform configuration. Now, you have added another 50 GB, let's say 60 or 100 GB. So when Terraform runs second time, they will discard that and make changes to the previous one. That means 120 to 128 GB.
Uh, okay, let's think it is not data. So okay, once the disk is increased, we can't compress like we can't decrease now. So how Terraform is doing then? It must be delete and creating new if in that scenario.
In the backend, they will do this is through the API, as I told you, right? So you don't have any control. As I told you do not have any control over here. So what you pointed, good questions, because normally in Terraform, I mean, in normally we cannot reduce the data disk, right? But
Yes.
sometimes there's a document that says that we can reduce it, I mean increase it or reduce it. But technically actually it says possible, but if actually do it, we don't, it's not possible. But according to the Terraform, whatever changes you are doing, it is going to take effect that according to the previous, it is basically restore. It is going to be restore in the sense, keep it as previous state.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, Mani,
Okay.
you have next questions?
And actually,
Yeah.
how to onboard a newly deployed resources through portal. Say, for example, I deployed some storage account through portal.
Okay.
How to onboard it to Terraform?
Okay,
Zip
that's
file
good
or
questions.
where to?
Yeah, that is very good questions. Yeah, actually, what we can do here, there's something called as a meta. There is something called a. Let me show you. This example, you created. So, for example, now we have this one. You want to manage it using Terraform, right? So this all created manually. Let's say example, or could be a virtual machine or storage account. So there is something called as. Have you heard a data source? Data source in Terraform.
Data source.
Let me go here. Let's show you. Now data source. Can you read this one?
Use information defined outside of Terraform, defined by another separate Terraform configuration or
Okay.
modified by functions.
This is just to use it. This is not to manage it. It is just to use it existing. This is for a data source. That means if you have the storage account, you just want to use it. You don't want to create it. We can use the data source. But if you want to manage it, in the sense, I want to bring it to Terraform, right? In this case, has a different requirement. I mean, different scenario. So, what you want? You want to bring this also in Terraform, or you just want to use it?
I want to bring it and manage it.
Okay, good. In this case, we cannot use. This will not help you. This will only help you if you want to use this information. In the sense, say for example, you want to use the storage account. Only the storage account details you can use it as part of the Terraform, but you cannot manage it. So if you at all want to manage it, let me take you maybe there. Let me check. Sorry, I think. I'll close this one. Okay, let me show you here. Okay, if you want to create, let me storage account, because you're talking storage account. I'll just simply type the, I can go directly also, I can type otherwise provider name, storage account, right? This way also I can find out. But anyway, we have a separate sessions. As I told you, everything will be real time. Now, come till the last. Can you see what it says now? Storage account can be imported using the resource ID. That means now, in order to manage any resources which was already there in the cloud, if you want to manage them also as part of the Terraform, first of all, there is a command called Terraform import, and the type of the resource. This is the resource type, right? And this is the name of the storage account name, right? So this way we need to define, and also this one. How I can get this ID? Say for instead of the storage account, say for example, we are working on the storage, resource group. Let me go to this resource group, and then there is also a settings, extract option will be there, right? Or you can directly go here JSON format. So there's a resource ID, right? You can simply copy this resource ID. This resource ID basically you need to copy manually from your portal. That means just like how I did it. So I have to just copy this one, then I have to use the commands. If you're talking about a storage account, same way you will be using it. But question is, only with the help of Terraform import, this will not work. So what is the process of working this one? So if you want to basically bring it to Terraform, so let me show you here. Okay, first thing what I need to write, if you want to bring to Terraform, let's say example, you have the 1 minute. Let's say the first thing, the first phase, what I have to do is that I need to write Terraform code, right? You have to write the code for which one? Storage account. If you want to manage the storage account, you have to bring. That's the first step. That means according to the existing resource, you have to write in Terraform also. Not everything end to end, but the high level you have to write. High level in the sense, the resource block, right? Once you write this thing, second number, what it will do, you will take the, you will go to in the after writing, go to portal, in the portal, okay, Azure portal, what you'll do, you take the resource ID or ID. Okay, once you get a resource ID, then all in Terraform, you will do the Terraform import. Terraform import, then the resource ID, whatever Terraform I given, import, then whatever the part which I showed, yeah, this one. If you copy here also, as I told you, you get this ID. You need this ID. Copy this one. Okay. Then once it is done, second, the third, after importing, then there's something called as everything. Definitely, you will have a state file creator. If you don't have a state file in advance also, no problem. You will have a new state file be getting generate basically. Okay. Generate state file. Okay, after state, once the state file is getting created, then what you can do, 5 the number, right? Okay, after state file, now what you do, you simply open the state file, go to open your state file, you will get a information for what, this particular storage account ID you copy, right? This information it will be stored where, here, state file. That means you'll have a information here about your resource group RG information, will get it in the state file. Once you get whatever other than the high level, whatever information that you need extra, let's say you have created only the storage account or maybe resource group, but you have not added a tag, let's say example, as part of the resource group, this tag is not added in your code, let's say. Now you have to manually once again update that one, whatever changes is there according to the state file. That means you have to refer the state file and update it in your Terraform configuration file. Okay, once you update this thing only, then you can run Terraform plan 6 number Terraform plan. You can do a Terraform plan or Terraform apply. You can do a plan first because this will help you to see the changes. You can run Terraform plan. Once you done Terraform plan, then if plan looks good, because as I told you, all the information whatever you have in your portal, here also this information is having like tags or any other information. So state file is there. That means Terraform easily can compare now. Terraform will compare now which one configuration also you have updated, right? And also you have a state file also. That means state file and these two are updated. It is up to date. That means when you run Terraform apply, then you will see if there's no changes, no changes will get no changes. No changes required. Okay, that means there is no any changes is required. Now you can simply run after this one Terraform apply. Okay, you can apply Terraform apply this way. Okay, that means now once you apply this thing, now you even as I told you, state file everything will be updated, everything. So now everything you can manage from scratch. Yeah.
I just want to ask that in real-time scenarios, is there any need to import from the Azure portal to Terraform?
Yes, of course, yes, of course. There will be many scenario case, right? You can have it. Not just this thing, there could be any other issues.
Okay.
In one of our previous projects, we used to migrate the servers, and
yes.
along with the existing Terraform infra, they would manually, they would add it in Terraform as well.
Yes, very, yeah, that's a good, very, that is very good one. You should know how to do it. Don't worry, that session also I will give you. That also will cover. Okay, we'll have session. That is it clear, Money, for you?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, great, yeah. Okay, let's go next. Okay, next, I was referring to what is that? Where we are in? I think we are somewhere here, right? Okay, we are here, I think. Okay, we are here, right? So as I told you, you have changes, then post condition, pre-condition. If you want to define some of the script you want to run, you can run it. Normally, you don't need to use much this one, but this one you will be using. That is your prevent destroy. Prevent destroy, say example, this particular resource by default false. That means anybody, this particular resource, they can easily create the resource for you. That means this is not about the this one. It could be any other resource, right? Anybody can delete this resource. But what if you don't want people to delete your resource? This is not just resource group. It could be any other resource, right? I don't want people to delete it. So that is when we can use this prevent destroy is equal to false. True. Okay, now what we can do, I will open one more this thing, just to this thing. Let me separate folder I'll create. This is storage I'll mention. Now basically, as I told you, this is empty one. You can copy whichever way you want. I will keep this as it is, but I don't want to smash it up, so that is why. Now I can select this one. Now let us create from scratch everything. We don't have anything now. I want to create a storage account now. Now what I can do first, if I remember, first thing is a provider, right? So simple under here, simply click here, file. I'll type a provider .tf. Then I can simply go to, I can go many ways. I can go to directly same account as I told you. This is your storage account. This is your Azure RM. This is the resource block, right? This is the resource, basically entire this thing. You can take this one. And now if you go here, right side, you can see here, just copy pasted this one. I have copied it, just paste it here. Now what changes I need? I just need to do here a block. Subscription, I will define the features. Under features, I will keep the feature as empty for now. Then next, as I told you, I need a subscription ID because that's something nowadays they are expecting. This one I have, you can take it from anywhere. If you know it, you can take it. Let's say if you don't know how to take it also, I can show you. If you type here as a account list, if I type, now I can see the ID, whatever my ID. This is the, if you set home ID, you can set an ID is there. This is the one, right? What is the number? It is a C2 C1. Now you can go back here, check here in the subscriptions, or whichever way you can do it. Actually, this is the one, right? This is the one we want. So I have defined it. Now I can simply copy from one of the thing. Let me copy from here. Now I will just simply use, because this is a string, I have to use a double quotes. Okay, so I have done. Now that means I'm good at the defining the what do you call providers. Next, I want to create the storage account, right? Now, as I told you, provider is must. I have done. Now, how can I create the storage account? Let's say I'm new. So I can simply create a main.tf. This is where basically we'll have a storage information related things. Now, first thing, the best practice to basically refer the documents. So as I told you, whenever you use the documents, you click over here, documentations. After this one, basically click here. I can, okay, let me 1 second. You can type here also. You can type just simply storage account also, no problem. Still it will come. I'm just making things simple. That is why I'm showing you. Okay, storage account. Now, if you see here, right, and the resource block here. Now I click here. As soon as I click here, now you can see something like this, right? Now you can get this also. One of the things you can get it. Now if you see here on your is here, there is something called argument. As I told you, argument is nothing but it is a key value pair, right? Key value pair. If right, so now that means I need now under argument. That means this argument is nothing but here. If you're dealing with a particular resource, that means we are working with the storage account. So storage account related, whatever arguments or whatever name value that I need, those something is must. Like if you can see here, whenever I want to create the storage account, I need a storage account name. Then also I need a resource group name. I need the locations. These three things are very much important as part of your storage account creations. So rest, if you see here, like account kind and their other tiers, these all are like optional, whichever you want it. Whichever you want, only whichever you see, only the optional. You can ignore also. Whichever you want require, those you can see here. Now let me see. Then let me create how we can create. There are two ways. If you are a very beginner, you don't know how to use it, go to here. Uh, this is a storage account. In order to create the storage account, we need to create a resource group also, right? Because as I told you, resource group is something, it's like a container where you can place all your resources. So I need to create my storage account under this particular resource group. So resource group creation, we already know. Let me copy paste it also. If I want, I can copy paste it. Here I will do some changes here. I'll simply type as a RG. Okay, RG. What is this RG? This is called as a local name, right? This is called a local name. This is called as a resource type together. And together we call as a block level. This is called as a block type. Remember, we have just learned. And this right side, what we see name or location, this is called as a argument name. And the right side, what we see, this is called as a argument value. Then whatever we see on your, I mean, together we call as argument. Also, this right side name we can call as a identifier. Left side, sorry, left side we can call as identifier. Right side we can call as a expressions. This is what we learned, right? So let me now start now. Now this name can be anything. I'll just keep it for timing, just for sake of time. I'll keep it my RG something, my resource group something, my resource. Okay, my RG I'll give. Location, let it be. this is as it is as before. Now, but our focus is to create the storage account. Now, if you don't know how to create storage account, no matter whether it is storage account or virtual machines or anything, all you need to is that you need to follow the documentations. You need to know how to use it, how to modify it. That you need to understand it. Now, let me take you to the storage account now. I can simply copy paste also, no problem. I can do that so, but I don't want to do that. So I can simply go here so that I can show you easily. First thing, I have to define the resource group. In order to create anything, how can I define the resource group? Whenever, remember one thing, whenever you want to create any resource, no matter whether it is a storage account, virtual machines or database or anything, whenever you are creating the resource, you always need to define the resource block. How can I define? Just type resource here. This is nothing but this is a block type, right? Always that should start with the resource. Block type should start with what? Resource. Now, after this one, now I need to understand, okay, I want to create, but what kind of resource I want to create, that you need to understand it. In my case, I want to create storage account, but storage account are into thing. Where exactly I want to create the storage account into? I want to create the storage account into where? Azure, right? So I have to mention the provider name. So this is how we need to remember easiest way. Okay, that means I want to say I want to create a resource that is in Azure provider. So that is why I mentioned Azure RM. Then what is the name of the resource or what type of resource? In my case, it is a storage account, right? Simpler type storage. Automatically, you just need to install some extensions. You can see so many options. You fully type, no problem. Storage, you can see list of suggestion for you. Now, which one you need according to your requirement? Let me select accounts because as I told you, I want this one. Same thing, only documentation also refer, right? Documentation you can check it. Otherwise, only first block you can take it. Then later you can type manually by yourself. Like which resource to use, you can see here, right? This is a provider name and this is a resource type, right? Together. Yeah, this is how we do. Now this is the local name. This local name can be anything. Local name, why it is used? Because if you give a local name, so there it is just like a variable. Basically, instead of calling with the actual value, you can call with this particular short name. This is also called as a short name in Terraform. That means whenever I want to basically call with this storage account name, I will not be calling with my storage account name. Rather, I'll be calling with my this particular name, whatever name I give as a local name. That my case, I give as a, let's say, storage. Okay, that means whenever I want to use this storage account, I have to call with this name, not with the actual storage account name. I hope this is clear. Now, as I type click here, this is the format. Just use the your control in your keyboard, control and then space button. As you type here, automatically there is so many suggestions you'll get it. This is one of the way. Second way of basically exploring is that there is another way, best technique that we can use. You simply put cursor over here. As you put a cursor, Terraform will understands what kind of resource that you are going to make it or create it. If you notice here, because how Terraform can understand by seeing the resource block. As I told you, in my case, it is a Terraform storage account, right? By seeing this one, Terraform understood that, okay, this particular person trying to create storage account. So in order to create storage account, what other meta arguments, sorry, not arguments required? In the sense, I need to define it. So that way it will help you. So you can select one by one. See, now it will show me now require attributes. I need to define a location that is not specified. Next, I need to define the account TR that is not specified. And then account replication type. So see, these all are automatically will give you suggestions. So based on your requirement, you can do one by one. So okay, in my case, then let me do with the name. I can give any name for now. It's just again, this is a string, right? I can use a storage. Still it will come because as I told you, there you have to, unless you fill entire the details, this error message will come. This will give you indication that this is to be defined. In my
I have a doubt.
Yep.
In the block label, you have named storage, right? In the name block label, and
Okay.
in
This
the
one.
name also you have given storage. If the two names are different, will it
You
cause
can
any error?
no, you can give any name. The same
Okay.
name, the same name you can use it or you can use different name. But the same local name cannot be duplicated. That means this individual, the local name should be always unique. That means whenever you creating anything, this name if using some other block
So the
also,
block type first line, the sixth line whichever you are giving is just for the local reference,
yes,
and
you
the
can give any name.
inside the brackets and everything which we are giving is for the Azure
Yeah,
portal reference.
yeah. Example, you can give something like this also, Hriyen storage, something like that. Just for the simplicity. Okay, anything you can give it. Now this name I'll just give a storage. Uh, as we all know, storage account cannot have the capital letter, right? It should be always small letter. Who works in Azure cloud, they will know. Normally in storage account, we cannot use capital letter. We always you need to use a small letter. Okay. So I will use, this is the active storage account name, not this one. This is just a reference name or local name. Next, what I need? I need a locations. Type location. Location also, I can simply define any location that I want. I can message to yes. What else I need? I can just use a control space button also. Automatically this should suggest. Now access tier. Now access tier means, see, you will be blank now. Access tier, I don't know what to define because now that's I don't know. Then what you can do? Go to this, copy this block, go to the documentations. You simply control F you do. In particular resource, you have to go basically here. Control F you do, search it. Now what it says, optional. This is optional, but it can be used. Whether you want to use this and all. So whether you want this one, if you want, you can use it. Whichever you want, you can define. In my case, okay, I want to default, but optional. If I want, I can use it. In my case, okay, I don't want for this thing. Or maybe what I can do, I can maybe define it. I will just comment it out for now because this is optional. Now next, now question, how do I know which are required, which are not required, right? So this is what I was telling you. You have to go through this document, whichever they require at the bracket, those you need to define it. So okay, now let's go next now. Then access tier is there, account kind. Account kind, so I don't know. So let us see here. Account kind can be anything, right? This you can define anything that you like. Account kind, if you see here, account tier standard and account system. So you have to just go through documents. Basically, you need to know how to use it. In my case, I'll simply give any random one because I just want to use it for simplicity purpose. Then what else? If you're making confused like this, the best practice, you can follow the documents one by one. Let's say how I can refer. Go the first one. Like there is an argument, right? Click on the argument. This is the best way instead of searching all the way, all the way. Simply click argument reference. Now you go by first. What I need? First, I need a name. So name is already defined. Second, what I need? Locations. Location. Then I need a resource group also. So I will have to define a location. Then also resource group. Resource group. Now which resource group I have to use it now? Resource group. I have to use this resource group. How can I use this resource group now? I have to use now Azure RM my RG. Actually, this is not my, it is a resource group name, my RG. I want to define my RG, right? Here also my RG, like that. That means if I want to link, how you have to link that. If that means now I want to create the storage account, but I want to create the resource group, that is create this one. How can I link with the local name? If you see here, till here resource group name I want to define, right? Till here is there, that is your resource, right? It is here. Resource block. Under here, this is a local name. So I'm calling with the
Dot
local name.
name.
Dot name. Okay. Then what is the next? Dot. Who's that? Name. Okay. Dot name, right? Because now in that what I want to call with the local name, I want to call the name. If you want to call with the ID, you simply use the ID. Okay. In my case, I want to call the local name only. Okay. This is the thing. Now next, location is done. What is next? Next we can use the location done. Kind. So kind also optional. I can ignore that one. Maybe what else? I can use account tier. Account tier. I can simply use a standard for now because this is a required string, right? So let me try account here. Account here. What else we have? So we just check one by one, we have to go through. Now this also required. What is that? Account replications. Why replications? Because normally we have different kind of replications. So we can define whether you want to store it locally or maybe particular data center or different zone, right? So that is thing. So I can check LRS maybe account replication type. Account replication type. LRS. Locally written in storage. Okay. Then
Again, you
this.
mentioned access tier instead of account tier.
Okay, is it?
Yeah, good.
Oh, account replication. Which one? LRS 1 minute. I confused
No,
it.
line number 11.
Oh, line number.
11.
Okay. Oh, what it should be? Account.
It should be account tier, right? Account tier.
Account here.
Okay. Standard, right?
Access or account tier. Can you go to the document?
Access. No, it was the account here. Yes, here required one. Here it
Account
is
tier.
below.
Account here. Huh?
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
account
in
here.
the document.
Just scroll down. It was there required. I think I just saw there.
Yeah, account here. Okay. So yeah, account here only. So now
Still,
you can see still
11?
Yeah. Now account here also required.
No. Still, access tier is there. You need to change to account _ tier.
Okay, my bad. I don't know how come this. Account here, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So now automatically the message is gone. But one more is showing now. It is this thing. Unclose the configuration block. So I did not use here. The curly braces I need to use it at last always. This is the syntax only. So I can use the shift plus curly braces. The symbol is there, no?
And one more small correction. Line number 8 is East US. A is missing.
Line number
8.
8. Okay. East US. Oh, thanks, bro. Yes. Okay, East US. So that means now if you just notice, automatically the message is gone because as I told you, it is you can follow this way also. You can there is an example code, right? If you click the example, you can see copy paste here and just modify what is required. If you really want to explore better, just copy this block and try to write by your own by going to the reference and see one by one what is the arguments are there. And for each argument, what is the value I need to define? You have to call. Example, if I had to define, you can check, right? There's so many other settings are there. You just need to explore it a little bit. Okay, how to modify also, that's also something that you need to check it. Now it is good. Now let me shape this one. Now if I had to run this one, Terraform. But one thing, if you notice here, one thing what you if you notice here, like whatever we are doing hard coded, right? So we need to basically use somewhere. Let me run plan. Now, if you see here, this all we are doing manually, right? That means this manual in the sense this is all the actual value. That means it is still getting created. Two resource. Why two resource? You can check it because as I told you, plan will help you to see what kind of changes that you're going to make or maybe going to display, right? So let me show you. If you see here, plus button is nothing but it is going to create. Then what is it going to create? You can see here. Terraform this following action, right? First thing is the resource group. This is the name, ID, everything is going to create it. This region. Second thing, another resource group that is storage account. This is with the local name, this known, right? So resource group and the storage account going to be created now. This is why if you come till down, 2 added, that means 2 is going to be added new, nothing to be destroyed, no changes required. Now if I add this one, now I can just simply apply also. Validation normally you need if you know, but if you want to do, you can test it validation also. Okay. Now once we are good with this, next what I can do, let me take you back. This is the one. Now let us see how little bit how we can make use of hardcode, because as I told you, this all you can get it. Whatever value you see, all the values are hard-coded value, right? Locations and everything hard-coded. How can we make use of variable here? Because variable, why I want to do, because normally nobody will be using a hard code value. It has to be defined as a variable. So yeah, so there is, as I told you, there is other option also. You can create subnets and everything if you want. Say example, if you have to create the virtual machines, you can just Azure RM. If you're creating the virtual machine, you can select, let's say there is something like this, right? Windows or Linux like that, you can select it, or you can simply use the virtual machines. This is now if you see here virtual machines, this is a if you go to disclaimer, if you see what is there, Azure RM virtual machine resource has been superseded by this particular. That means nowadays actually, before we were using this one block. This is mean it's difficult to identify, right? Because this particular is for the virtual machines. It can be anything. Now how do you know whether you want to create for the, there are two type of operating system, right? Mostly into this thing, right? One is a Linux, or second is a Windows. Now this is why, now if you are basically dealing with the Linux base, instead of defining this way, you have to call with this name. Let's say Linux virtual machine. That means after provider, you have to specify the operating systems, that platform that you're going to use. That is a Linux. Same way for the Windows. Okay. In my case, let's say I'm going to use a Windows or Linux. I can simply click same document will take me. Okay. Now, if I click here also, they will show you. Then what you can see here, Terraform will automatically remove the OSDs by default. This behavior can be configured using the feature. If you want to use a feature block, as I told you, separate block, right? So these all the nodes, whatever the disclaimer, you can go through this one if you want to understand better. Now let's go to the example. As I told you, you can get a sample code for resource group. To create a resource group, as we all know, we need to define other resource as well, right? So yeah, let's say you need a resource group. First of all, you need a providers, then you need a resource group. You need to have the virtual network. Of course, you need to have the subnet. Then also you need to have the network interface. These all I can use it by referring these documents, everything, and also the virtual machine name is everything is there. But thing is there, whatever the Microsoft, sorry, not Microsoft, the Terraform is given, the same thing we cannot be used in your real time, because why it is not possible? First thing, it is everything hard-coded value. None of the company would use hard-coded value. So we need to customize this actual value to the according to the company standard. So that means you have to avoid writing all the hard-code value. It has to be defined as a variable. Okay, so but then you should know how to define the variables and work with the variables and some functions in Terraform as well, and modules and all. So as I told you, same thing for the resource group, I mean virtual machines. You simply go to here documents and go through this one. All you need is how to modify it, how to work with that one. All the resources are there already. You just need to modify or know how to define best practice. Okay, so you don't have to worry if you don't know how to create also, because everything is documented well. You just need to know. Okay, now let us go to the storage account. Let us see how we can use it using some variables now. Now if variables, as I told you, here if you see here, I have this many variable. What is that? Creating storage account, unexpected, conflict, token already. Okay, this storage account already taken. That means, as I told you, storage account normally in Azure, it should be unique, right? and also we should not keep what do you call, it should be always small letter. So it is small letter, but somewhere it is taken. That means this is global unique. Okay, I need to define something. Let's say I will define as well, something like that. Now it should not be any issue because I have modified something. Let me try once again. Not for every resource, especially for the storage account, it has to be unique. Now it is saying want to add, right? Because I think the resource group is already created. Let us see that. What is the name of the resource group? My RG something, right? Yeah, it is a my this thing, my RG. If you see, notice this is the local name. While calling, I will call while using the storage account, but actual name would be this one. So that means if I want to call this storage account, resource group name, I have to always call with the local name, not with the actual name. Let's see that. This is the name, right? My RG. Now under here, it's created sometime. Okay, let me get created. Meanwhile, what we will do, we will try to create variables. Simple variable we'll try to create. Okay, here I will create one more variable. Say for example, text key string. Now I can give as tag I want to define as a dev this department, I mean to say. See, it is created. I can give as any name, IT, or not. Also I can give as let's say this is a string, right? So for example, this one I have done it. I think I did somewhere. So I can define something like a any name I can give like maybe department,
environment.
Yeah, anything I can give. So like that you can have. So if you notice what exactly mistake, I mean, what exactly we are doing is that we are defining multiple tags. Let's say environment is a tag. Now what problem here is that everything we are doing a hard code value. And now let's say you have a 50 tags now, right? You have a 50 different tags defining here, and also all the value, whatever you see, or hard coded value, right? Let me first make this one also, maybe this thing. Maybe it's got created. Let me create for a tag now. Tag I have updated now. Meanwhile, let us see in the portal. This is the, let me refresh. This is, what is that? My RG, this one, right? Yeah, my RG. Now we have a storage account with whatever name we have given, right? This is the name we have given. You can check it once. This is the name. Where is that? Here. This one, right? This is the name we have given it. Same now. It is shown here, but let me go inside here because I have added tags, right? Let me see the tag now. Now if you see here, I have added two tags now, department and environment. Now this is there. Now let's say in the layer you have a multiple tags you have to edit, right? And also the whatever value you are passing here, basically these all are manually we are doing. So how can we make this use of variable and maybe make it little simple and dynamic way? That means only the changes you need, those changes you can make it dynamically, and you don't have to write maybe go through entire code. How can we make that? So that let us understand now. First, what we can do, we can define under same this thing. There's a variable. You can simply type variables or variables, whatever name you can give, .tf extensions. Now I need to know what exactly I want to, what kind of parameters I want to pass it. So in my case, I want to pass variable for the resource group. If you see here, resource group name also hard coded. So how can I do this then? So if I see here, we can go with the, let's say, sorry, where is that? Here. I can type simply variables. In my case, now resource group. Just I type uh just the type of resource group or location, whatever. You can give, this is actually optional. You can give a dash or anything, but you cannot give anything like that. This is not the best practice. Always try to use the underscore or maybe hyphen underscore you can use both. So I'll use the underscore, no problem. Now here you can, if you want to define, let's say if you're new, normally I can give a description. This will help you to understand what is this variable used for. A variable here you can define as a thing, like this is for resource group or RG. Then next, what is that? Next, I'll just use a control plus space button. I can here type. Type, what is this? Type mean is where I need to understand what is the type of the resource. In my case, if you notice here, it is all string, right? This is all string. User also string, this is string, right? Data type basically. So I will have to define that. So let me type as a string. That means this is as a string mean because only one value, right? Now next, I can give a default value. There is another way of doing also. Normally we should not pass the value here. This has to be passed in your TF file. That gradually we will learn as we go. Okay. For now we'll do it here. Whatever name I want. In my case, so instead of defining there, I'll simply copy paste the same name because I want to define it here. Value. Okay. Till here is good, right? Same way, I will just copy paste the same format so that I don't have to type again and again. Now it's a location. I can simply change this one as locations. I can this is for a location or RG something. You can give anything that you want. Location. Okay. Now string, and what is the location is to yes. Or you can check also this also. Sorry. Copy paste, or you can type it as you should be comfortable while typing it. So in my case, that's okay. I will just type it or maybe copy paste it. Okay. Till here is good. But question is, now let me do the next one. Okay, for now let me stop. I mean, let me do here. Tomorrow I will show you. I mean, next week I'll show you for storage account as well as other resource. How can I pass this value, right? This is, as I told you, this is defined in the variable. How can I pass in main.tf this one? Okay, so while passing the main.tf, how is issue? You always need to use. You have to use the this one. First remove this one. So let me show you how to pass. If I want to basically call the name from the variable, because in the variable I given name as something, right? So I can simply call where. Where is nothing but variable dot. Always I have to use a dot because anytime you want to separate this thing, you have to use a dot. Okay, now I am calling from the variable file. What is the name of this resource group? If you see here, this is right. This is the name given, right? How this name is coming? This name is coming from the variable name. This is a, what is the name of the variable? It is a resource group. If you go here, this is the name we given the variable name. So that means whenever I want to call this value, that is your default, that is your my RG, I have to call with this one. So as I told you, how I have to call where dot in the sense this one I'm calling where dot I have to put always. Then I have to call the variable name if I want to call with this name actually. So I have to call with the resource group. Resource underscore, sorry, I'm typing here, that is why maybe I just copy paste there. I'm just typing here just to make you understand. Okay, like this is how we have to call it, but it's not called here. This has to be passed, as I told you, in your main.tf file. Here I have passed it. Same thing for the location also. Again, this also same thing from variable, right? Variable dot locations. Now this is good, right? Sorry, locations, not the resource. location. Okay, now what about others then? There are so many other things this also. Okay, let me take 2 minutes of time or 3 minutes of time. I will complete this also better. Okay, then let me do this also, storage account and this thing also. First thing, I will do the storage account. So define the storage account. I can define as a variable name as a this thing, storage account, storage. This variable name can be anything, guys. Don't worry what name I want. This is depends on you. So now I don't want to define the description because I don't want to spend so much of time. Only here I need to define now. If you see here, here we have so many things, right? You have a location, everything. How we have to use? Yeah, we have to use a object here. So I can use an object also. How object? Because this has some properties, right? So I can use an object also if you want. Or if you don't want to use an object or locations, you can individually use. But for now, I don't want to go that complex. Let it be as small as we can. So we'll go the simplest way. So we'll go with the instead of defining everything, string again. I mean not this one. This you can give storage account. Okay, this is string. I can give a define value like this.
One thing, Hriyen, a
Yep.
storage account is unique, right? Like once created, can we change that? Like, I mean,
Yes, you can change it unless if it is not existing, you can change it.
okay.
Yeah, no problem. You can change it, but if it is already created, if it's not there in other somebody is not using, then yes, you can change it. Okay, so that's not an issue. Okay, so that's a thing. Right now I'm not defining any description. Okay, this is a thing. Now if you see there are other things also. For now I'll keep as it is. This also I will keep as this thing because normally if you have to see now for each details we need to define like this. Like this is not a good practice actually. No, normally we should not be using individual like this. We have to use something called as a map of object or object variable. That means looping. We have to loop the variables. This is a very simple variable basically. Usually we will not be using this way. So this is what I was trying to say. But for now, I will show you the simple one so that you can at least relate. Later, I will show you. Okay, how can we can?
Can you also add the location for storage account once? How
Yes,
you will
yes.
add
Yeah, sure. Location means
the variable? Yeah.
Azure RM. This was this my Azure RM, my RG that you type here location. Now look while looping the location, right? You have to check the location. What is the name? Bad dot this thing, right? Bad dot we are given. And okay, this is location is not created separate, right? This is from the resource group. So you can use the
Yes.
resource group location.
Okay,
Because
that's fine. But here RG location is different and the resource group location is different. That's why I'm asking how we can provide that.
which RC location is different? How do you know it's
Storage
different?
account location is east to west and resource group location is Europe west something. Both are not in the same location actually.
How do you know that? Let us see.
Like we already reply, right? Overview.
Let me check. This is the east to west, right?
East to west. Okay,
Storage account.
RG.
RG also. This should be east to west only. This should be east to west.
No, no,
Sorry.
essentials. There is
Sorry.
already we are in overview. West Europe. See.
Europe. Okay. If you want to, in this case, it depends on your requirement. Which one you want to use, so you can define. If you have a different location, now which one you want to use it? Now, if you want to call from the variable, like from the what you define here, what is it called here, right? So this is a where is that? Here, West Europe. So we can define accordingly. Or if you want to use the existing according to the resource group, that also you can use it. Two way. Let me show you how we can do. If you want to use the, say for example, based on the resource group means that means based on the resource group if you want to use, I have to just use Azure RM resource group my RG. Okay, this is my RG, right? Dot location. Yes. That means this is according to the location of my resource group, my storage account will be used. Okay.
Other way.
Other way, if you are using some other defined variable, you simply use a where dot locations.
Okay. Now
This is
if
the
it's variable.tf,
yeah,
once go to variable.tf, please.
variable dot here. Okay.
Okay, so it will call from here. If we come
Yes.
here, the location is you mentioned is West Europe.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
same can't be used because I want a resource group in West Europe, storage account in East Europe. So
Mm.
how you will write then?
Okay.
How
In
we will
this,
write?
okay. In this case, you can
Then
change
I
it. This
think
one.
we have
Yeah.
we can write
You-
two variables, right? For different locations, we can create two location one, location two, bolke two variables we can create, and we can use any location, any variable we like that.
So here there's something called as a multi-provider. Do you remember? In some time just study multiple provider. Have you remember? Do you remember this one? I mean, I should not be doing like this multi-provider.
Okay.
This concept will come. This I will show you. Don't worry. But for now,
Okay.
just understand the concept because if you're going that details, then others will be this thing. But good this thing. But yeah, so that also possible if you depends on your requirement how you want to define it. In my case, I want to define from the resource group or based on the resource group, I want to create it. So I can define this way. I mean, not this way, this one, Azure RM, right? The location. This way I can call it. Same thing for the resource group name also. I want to use the existing resource group, this one. Okay.
Got it.
Now second thing here also whatever we have, this all we need to basically we should not keep this as hard code. We have to define as a variable. So that I will show you later also, like entire storage account, how we can define one variable and call them. Okay, that I will show you later. But for now, just understand the basic thing. Now this also, if you notice, I have a two tags. Say for example, I have 100 tags or maybe 50 tags. How can I define here? It will not look good also, right? So what is the different way of doing it? So let us see that also. I have two tags. Let's say I have 3-4 tags also. Let me show you that. So as I told you here, I will just simply type. Can somebody tell me what is the variable type I'm going to use? Data type. Can someone tell? No? Here is important. Data type. I have to define data type. I have to mention the map of object. Why map of object? Because I want to map between name and the key. I mean name and the value basically, right? So in this case, I can simply copy paste it now. That is the dev. This name. Second is your IT. Same way, you can have a n number of basically file. Same way, let me do for improvement. Is it clear? Depth. Now, like this, if I have a multiple tag also, I can simply add, let's say, owner, Hriyen. That means this is a separate variable specific for a tag. This is how normally you'll be using in real time. Say, for example, I can define anything, applications, something like that. What kind of application, anything I can define, right? And so this all I can define. Application is something like testing, something like that. So like that, you can define n number of tags. But when you're creating the any kind of resource, you are calling with the only tag name, not with the actual value. I mean, you while calling the actual value, you will be calling only with the tag name. Now let us see that how we can do that. So go back here. I have two already. That means two will be there always. But apart from two, I will have to create two. So this is a resource block, right? I'm tag block. I will remove this one. Then just use a tag. Then you just use a var dollar, just like a variable. How you call it? That's it. See how simple it is now, right? We are passing to where exactly we are passing here. I mean, we are defining here in the variables multiple things. We are defining whatever unit. You're simply calling here. That means dynamic this one. Now you don't have to touch in your actual code. You will be always changing in the variable file. You get it now? You will only changing the variable now. Let's maybe make this one storage account variable. Okay, locations. Now, as I told you, this one locations I had defined this one. Okay. Now it should be storage something. Let me run the Terraform once again. What is that? Line number is invalid, syntax text. Now what is the line number? 25. Now if you go to 25, what is variable.tf file? Okay. Now where to see 25? Okay, this one, because as I told you, it is a string, right? We missed it to define the double quotes. So that is important because it's a string, right? So we are mapping the object key and value basically. That is why we need to define as a string. So that's the thing. Now also we are coming. Now testing. String. Type map object. Okay, list of string. We can sense here. It's a list of string or object. This will be a list of string because we are defining here. Okay, let's see now. The primary does not string expert here. Okay, maybe should come as a map of string. Object will not come. We can make otherwise map of, because we are defining multiple map of string. In build specific primitive type keyboard does not expect the arguments. Do I need to define this also? What? Let me check. You can maybe if you this thing have doubt, you can check also like map of. Sorry, it will be map of this thing. Let me check. This correct only map of string. I can type map of string example also. Oh, this is some mistake in me. Map of object, the value that maps are objects, complex data structures must be combined. Correct only. I have defined this only. See here. Tags view state. Map of string. Oh, my bad. The reason why it's not coming means so I have this thing is correct. I need to define the default, right? Map of I have defined it, but I did not define the value. I'm trying to pass it, but that is the thing. So like if you notice here, I have defined the default, but here there's no any default value. I mean for this thing. This is the reason. Okay, so what we can do is let me. I don't know if that works. Maybe just copy. Okay, I'll check this one. Maybe there's something wrong with the data type when I define it. This is map of strings. Okay, I have defined default, but somewhere is having issue. Oh, I need to remove maybe this one. Let's see. Normally, one should do mistake, right? So we have to remove it fully. A small mistake also, then it may affect it. That's why. Let me put this also. Map of string subsets. Okay, let me check this one. There is a issue with tag. Okay, maybe map of objects. Okay, but because I want to map with this the string. This is a thing. Anyway, we'll discuss this one. I will check this one. Map how we can map it. Maybe there's some small mistake. Anyway, so we have to call with it like this. Yeah. So I will show you anyway. Once again, while defining the tags, because I want to define multiple. Otherwise, we can define individual tags, but that is not something we are looking for, right? So we want to do it multiple tags. So I will check the documents once again. Maybe somewhere it is missing. I don't know.
I think
So,
the bracket is missing.
which one?
Could you please go back there? That's
Yeah.
The variables.
Let me check. This is okay.
So open bracket and close bracket. I think we need to define in this line number 21 only. I think.
No, let me.
See
Okay.
the document.
Let me try once again. Type. Map of string, map of object. What is that? The enrollment tab. Is it spelling correct? Anyway, that's okay. Map of object also we can do it, but yeah, anyway, checking once. Oh, string booleans. Somewhere we are doing actually here list of strings. Map of string we can use actually. Why not coming? Not sure. Wait, let me check. Map of string in Terraform Azure tech. Let me check if I get something. I don't know why it's taking me here only. They are defining this is a normally we have defined this way, but a map of string we used it. Map of object also we used it. Map of string we have used it. The only what I was thinking, we have
Mention like here, like the type of map, and it is closed here itself. In the line number 21, you have opened the bracket, and we need to close. I hope. See, if you see the document, it is showing the same. Like if you see here, the type equals to map, open the bracket, string, and close the bracket.
Close the brackets there too.
Yeah, but in our case, we are closing at the end. At line number 25, we are closing.
Pink
Okay.
bracket.
This one, huh?
Yes, yes.
Sure, like this.
No. I mean, like, could you please open the document once?
Okay.
See here, type equals to map, open the bracket, string, and closed it. They have closed it. In the line number, same line,
Okay.
they have closed. Okay. Whereas
Okay.
in our case, we have closed at
Okay.
around line number 25.
Okay. Map variable. Map also. Okay. Okay, got it. Let me check. Map type. Okay, I think what we can do is let me keep this one.
And line number 21, can we just do that? Like Control Z?
Yeah, I will delete this also first. 1 second, I'll type the type map of string. What is it? Map of what you're using? Same thing, right? String. This is strings. Let me check anyway. Then next, I will try the for. Yeah. Now a syntax will come properly. There was some issue with the like if you remember there we have defined value, right? I mean default. So if you try to customize it, there is some syntax issue. That's the thing. Now I can give a what is that? Dev IT, dev environment IT. Okay. Dev, I can give a department environment. Okay. I can type here department. Here is IT. Environment. Now I can give us anything. And there is a small mistake while defining the syntax. It is correct only, but while defining this somewhere it is not organized in the right format. Maybe because of that. I can type as owner. Sorry, I'm typing something too much class maybe. Anyway, okay. Now the syntax got organized now.
And the quotations we need to remove, I hope. The quotes.
No, that's correct. If you see here, how they are using.
Here. And the left hand side, 23, 24, the department quotations, single quotes.
Oh,
double
okay,
quotes,
that's okay. You can give single quote, double quotes.
Not here. In the like department, we have in a double quote, right? Whereas in the document, there is no quotation there. There is no double quote. If you see.
Okay. Okay. Let's see. It should work. Let me check. Otherwise, we can modify. It should work normally. Let's see. It should work. Actually, I'm guessing. Yeah, it's working. It should work actually. This double quote, single quote, it depends on you. You can use a single quote or double quote. It's your thing. Okay. So the only mistake what we did was when we are doing is while mapping it, there is a one small the curly braces was missing. I mean, was defined this thing. That is the thing. Now we have defined it under default. So before here we see here others all defaults are defined, but here we didn't define it. So that's why it was not happening properly. Okay, it's showing now changes thing. Let us see what changes is being done. I mean, you can see first of all, this is for the update in place. That means anything new resource that those going to be destroyed. Destroyed in the sense updated. Plus minus means it will first destroy and then create replacement. Similar way. Now, as I mentioned, environment tag and everything also replace. What is the storage account? So this is also force replacement. So locations. Before this was this one, now it will be these locations according to the variable you define. In the variable bed.tf file we have defined, right? So there's a thing now you can see it. Now we can check it once. I think this one. Yeah, what is our this location? This location, West Europe, and these locations. This is the storage account. Under here, we will have a multiple tags now. Dev. How many dev environment? What is the one more tag we added? Only two tags we added. What?
We added 4, I hope. 3, sorry.
Okay, honor is, I think that is a default one. I can add some more. Let's say created or manage. Terraform. Shoot, my bad. I did not create actually. I was just checking it. I just run the plan, right? I did not create it. My bad. I have to create it. I did not create. I was just running the plan. That's it. So you see here, one to add. That's it. I did not create it. There is a reason it's not showing. Let's wait then. Okay, now it will going created. There's a thing, small mistake also if you do somewhere, no, you will have this thing. So whenever you have a small code, you better to redirect once again. Because if you miss something, some sentence small also, it's difficult. Now because of the default, we are having all centers got collapse, right? Now when we define the default and define the value, then we have this thing. Normally there is one more way we can do is that whatever we have a default, no, this default value we can simply pass it in our this thing only, like TFR file. So how we can do in the sense, like I will just show you, you'll get some idea. Normally in the real time case, they will not define like this. What they will do in your variable file, simply they will use the this way, variables text. So I cannot use the same name because it is duplicate. So I'll just use the one more as a instead of I'll use a common underscore like that. So for example, this one, all you simply use a, that's it, map of, sorry, type map of string. That's it. You will use only this one actually in your actual company or any project. Normally you will use only this one. Okay, you will not use like this. But if you see what is the difference here, only difference is the default value. Default value they are passing directly in a variable. Means this can be possible doing it, but this is not a actually in your actual company or a project. Normally they don't pass in a direct variable. They will just define the data type in the variable. That's it. So when they will pass in the Terraform this thing. What is it when you're writing the Terraform code in the tf file. So tf means, as you think, you know, tf sorry, tf bars, like this. There's another file called this extension. Okay, so this value they will pass it there, and they will override. They will write the value whatever you want to define here, because you just need to define here the type of the data. In my case, map of string. So actual value will be passed in the tf bars file only. So that we will discuss later. But for now, this is the best. This also we can do it. It's not nothing wrong here doing, but best practice to use it in tf bars only. Okay, yeah. So thank you, team, once again. So I will just stop the sessions, so we can wind up the session. Thank you once again. Yeah.